Well, good morning, everybody. How are you doing? This is Luis Jimenez, and our beautiful Saturday morning. One more opportunity to talk to you guys about this uh, important work, the Mastermind show. So I want to thank you for being here. Are you joining us on YouTube and do us a big favor and please like, share, and click on the little bell so you can get notifications. And I want to give you guys the welcome to this beautiful show. We're still talking about autosuggestion, this amazing concept that helped me to win 14 world championships, to have an amazing wife, and all the beautiful things that I have gotten in my life. Autosuggestion has played a wonderful one. It's a key code for me. It's one of my favorite principles. I use it all the time. You use it all the time. We all are using it all the time. We're just not too conscious about it. And I want to welcome my dear friend Peter James. Dr. Peter James, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning to you, Louise. It's so exciting to be here on this Saturday morning, another Saturday morning, as we dive on in and talk about Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Those of you who are watching and have never had the chance to pick up this book, today's your day for sure. But we're also diving on into this third chapter, this third principle there, Louise, of autosuggestion. And we have a very special guest. We're going to unpack a little bit, identify her, how and why she loves Napoleon Hill's book, but also this chapter, what autosuggestion might mean to her as she continues to move forward. So, Luis, I don't know about you. I'm looking for a robust conversation today. We're going to weave in and out of this text. We're going to understand and learn our great guest today. And it's just going to be a phenomenal, another fabulous show there, Louise, just like we do every
As
week.
as usual, Peter, we are our guests every week. They bring so much light and a different perspective, and that's what I love about this show. That all the different components, right, and every single person lives and experience the principles in different ways. Yes, and our guest is going to bring technology, science to her work. She loves to do that. And I cannot wait. Yes, same thing, Peter. All right. Well, I am going to introduce you guys to the one and only Carola Fuertes. Carola, please come on in. Good morning, Carola. How are you?
Morning, Luis, Peter, and I am super excited to have this conversation. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait.
Well, wonderful. Let me tell you guys something about Carola. Carola is a life and weight loss coach with extensive experience in nervous system regulation and emotional well-being. She brings scientific expertise and deep understanding to her work. Her approach combines practical strategies with emotional support to inspire and create lasting transformation. And I am already delighted by that. I cannot wait to dive into that. So, Carola, can you tell us about your work and what are you doing? And obviously, we're going to start diving into the auto suggestion a little bit. But yeah, absolutely. Can you
Sure,
tell us
thank you.
about yourself?
Thank you for allowing me to explain a little bit. I work mainly with professional women who, are very smart, very accomplished. They have hit probably every other goals that they have set for themselves. They have the career, they have the family, the house, the car, the travel, all the experiences. But for some reason, this is one of the areas that they have been struggling the most. And I mean, their weight. Many of them are doctors, so they also have the added discomfort of being the ones who give their own patients some guidelines and advice on health and weight, but they can't apply it themselves because their nervous systems are usually under so much stress that they are stuck in survival mode. And when we are stuck in survival mode, not only we have like our metabolisms are slowed down, and therefore even like the most common weight loss strategies don't work that well. But also typically one of their coping mechanisms that they have learned for so long, and it's therefore automated in their brains, is using food as a coping mechanism. So I help them understand that. I believe very strongly that when you understand how things work and why things are a certain way, that helps immensely to bring some more self-compassion and acceptance. And from there, the change comes so much easier. I don't want to take too much time to explain that, but if you have any questions, I'm super happy to explain further.
No, absolutely. I love it because it makes total sense for us, right, Peter, that we love to work with the mind. We definitely understand that the mind, the understanding brings a lot, brings certainty, right? It brings also this sense of I know things, so I know exact certainty is going to bring me to this thing. So I can start, I take resistance out of the way as well. And I am willing because I can see knowing the science with the certainty, I am willing to try a little bit harder, and I'm going to have faith in this work. So see, for me, it's just fascinating because once the mind gets involved, everything is so much easier once you have the understanding. But Peter, do you have any questions for her? Are we
Yeah, no,
are we
we're going to dive in a little bit later
perfect?
there, as we continue to move forward, because yeah, I do have some serious questions, because I know as human beings, sometimes we get in our own way. Sometimes we have challenges that we're trying to overcome. Sometimes there's just personal factors that play into some of the challenges that persist in our lives. I would love to continue to dive into Carola and how she addresses that for her clients as she moves forward. So, but Carola, before we do that, I would love to hear a little bit about your history, your upbringing. What has made you the success that you are today, if you don't mind?
Thank you. Yeah, well, I am in Chile. I was born in a very small city up north, right next to Peru. And I was lucky in some ways because I had a family who stimulated me from a young age to explore different interests that I had. But also, there was a lot of generational trauma in my family as well. And I know that that is true for so many people, and especially my age. I'm going to turn 50 this year. So I still carry, and I am still healing a lot of not enoughness. And I know that so many people who are listening or watching will relate.
Mm.
I I was one of those cried out babies that you were left to cry on your crib. And one of the things that created for me was a sense that nobody was going to help me. And
Mm.
I bring that up because that is one of the things that I have been able to make so much progress in with affirmations. So I just want to put a pin on that.
Yeah.
And as I grew up, I was always interested in math and science. So I went to become an electronics engineer, and I worked as one for a long time. And that was also great. And it also has had its own downsides because back then, it's not so much anymore, but it was a very male dominated world.
Mm.
So I had to tap into that male energy very heavily to be able to survive. And that, even though it was hard at the time, it molded me, and it helped me and laid the foundations for the work that I do now. And well, I don't know how much detail do you want, but as soon as I had my kids, I married at 38 or so, and then I had two kids. They are 11 and 9 now. I wanted to do something for work that was less stressful in a way, but also I worked for an airline. I worked in the maintenance area, so I had to travel to all the factories for like the planes and the seats and the galleys and all of that. And that kind of that rhythm for me, it wasn't compatible with my family life that I wanted for me. So I wanted to do something that was a little more flexible in that sense, but also that had more meaning and that brought more fulfillment and satisfaction. And it's so interesting because years before, like probably 10 years before or 15, I had started my own personal growth journey. And I didn't know that being a coach was a possibility. I didn't know what that
Mm.
was. I had no idea that it was available to me in Chile to be working with clients all around the world. But through a lot of all this work, like faith, belief, commitment, determination, and burning desire, uh, I'm able to have that life now. And I'm so grateful for that.
Carola, thank you so much. So much stuff to come back to that you've identified for us. And we'll come back to it in just a little bit. Luis, I want to bring you back in. We have a video that we're getting ready to show, Luis. I would love that you introduce the video for our audience, if you could.
Yes, sir. Yes, Napoleon Hill, in his best work, most known work, Think and Grow Rich, explains the 13 principles to success. He brings depth, a lot of deep understanding, explains, takes his time. Took him over 20 years to write this book. And we have put together a video, a magnificent video. Check it out, write down stuff. This video is amazing. Check it out.
Number 1 is desire. Napoleon Hill said that everything starts with a burning desire, a compelling reason for doing what it is we do. Step 2 is faith, having belief in our ability to attain that which we desire. Step 3 is what we call autosuggestion. Autosuggestion simply means being very intentional about the things that we are pouring into our thoughts, into our brains, and into our consciousness. Our brains, our minds will receive everything automatically, but we have to work extra hard to make sure that the positive things are what we are feeding ourselves, because those positive thoughts are going to turn into positive actions. Step number 4 is specialized knowledge. No one person knows everything, even about whatever their particular area of expertise might be. And the value of the Mastermind principle is using the specialized knowledge of other people. Step number 5 is imagination, the workshop of the mind. Everything starts with our imagination and our thoughts, the burning desire to transform those thoughts into our reality. In order to do that, we have to take a look at step 6, which is organized planning. That is how we crystallize our desire into action, organizing ourselves. Having the thought and not acting on the thought isn't going to get us anywhere. We have the thought, we go through the organized planning to transform that thought into action. Step number 7 is decision. What Napoleon Hill said is the mastery of procrastination. Napoleon Hill said that the antidote to procrastination is simply to make a decision and then move on that decision. Step 8 is persistence. We have to have a sustained effort which is induced by our faith in order to achieve our goals. One of Napoleon Hill's books I love, even the title, 3 Feet from Gold. Those people who became rich during the gold rush in the wild, wild west days didn't do that because they were necessarily smarter or had better information than anyone else. It's because they stayed just a little bit longer. Sometimes people left when they were just literally 3 feet from gold. So hanging in there, being persistent, is step number 8. Step number 9, the power of the mastermind, the driving force. None of us can accomplish anything on our own. Everybody, I don't care who you are, from the most prominent person to the person who might be considered the lowest on the totem pole, everybody has someone who helped them get to where they are. And the power of the mastermind is being able to use those influences around us, use the thoughts, use the knowledge, use the exploration of other people to help us in achieving our goal. Step number 10, the mystery of sex transmutation. This title can be a little confusing, but essentially what the mystery of sex transmutation means is that we oftentimes in our society think of sex as being purely physical. It is absolutely physical, But what Napoleon Hill teaches us is that sex also has an emotional element, and that sex is the strongest of our desires. That if we can take our sexual energy, transform that into positive, creative influences, it can propel us to new heights. And so we spend quite a bit of time talking about the mystery of step 10, which is sex transmutation. Step number 11 is the subconscious mind, which Napoleon Hill tells us is the connecting leap between our human mind and the infinite intelligence, the source of all thought, the source of all creativity. Conscious mind, we spent some time talking about how we use that through the influence of autosuggestion and what we're feeding into our mind. Step number 12, which is the brain, the broadcasting and receiving station of thought. Final step number 13, the sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom. This is the final step through which infinite intelligence may and will communicate voluntarily without any effort from or demands by the individual. The principle is the apex of the philosophy. It can be assimilated, understood, and applied only by first mastering the other 12 principles.
Welcome back to Think and Grow Rich Mastermind live podcast. So I love this video. I cannot tell you how much. Every time I watch it, every time I listen to it, it just makes my mind spin. The understanding is so cool. It's so direct. Carola, welcome back. So you were talking about you became a coach. You didn't see this opportunity to help other people. When do you think this started? The serving others, be there, sharing your experience, sharing this amazing thing of personal growth with others.
You know, it's hard for me to pinpoint a specific moment in time, but I do remember from when I was very, very young, maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, that I really loved when people asked me for help. When a friend would ask me, like they would have a problem and they didn't know what to do, and like 6, 7, 8-year-old types of problems, right? But I really
Mhm.
love to have that opportunity, and I just noticed that. And then when I was working as an engineer, and I had a team that worked for me, like in my area, one of my favorite, probably the most favorite part of that work for me, of that position, was being able to develop my team
Mhm.
and help them grow and help them get what they wanted, not only at work, but also in their personal lives. They for some reason, people tend to want to tell me their stuff. So I noticed that, and even then, I didn't know that this was what I was going to do later in my life. And then, well, as for many people, I'm sure out there, there was a merger with two different airlines and massive layoffs. And
Mhm.
and in Chile, we have a law that when you have a small kid, a baby, up until they are 1 year and 3 months old, the company, the employer, can't fire you. So that's to protect the kids. And I knew that they were waiting until that time was up to fire me, because I was coming to the office and I didn't have an office, a space to work in. I didn't have assignments. Like, it was evident that that was the case. So I approached them, and we got to an agreement so that I could leave earlier than that 1 year and 3 months, because that would be torture.
Mhm.
And I talked with my husband, and we decided that I was going to have a sabbatical year to just be with the kids and just enjoy that and be able to build that strong bond and that. And when that year was up, I knew that I was not gonna come back to a like office
Yeah.
type of work, and I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. And
Mhm.
I went to the Tony Robbins event in Miami, the Date with Destiny.
Mhm.
So much people, and the energy was great, and I
Mhm.
knew that I wanted to keep that going, that sense of connection and growth and helping others and being in service. And I still didn't know that I could be a coach. It didn't cross my mind. And then one of my friends that I made in the after, like maybe a couple months after, we were still having conversations regularly. And he said, "Hey, why don't you like just coach people?" And I'm like, "I can't do that. I'm an engineer." And I realized that there was some work that needed to be done in terms of beliefs and thoughts that were blocking me from that. But once I was able to see that as a possibility, and it's like all the dots connected, it was like a domino that fell and made every other domino fall. And yeah, I don't know if maybe I tend to drag on my answers, so please cut me off if I am taking too long.
It's okay. It's all right. It's so it came after that event that the
Uh,
seeds were planted.
I
That's when
was,
it happened. And I would like to dive into our suggestion because you said you doubted yourself, of course, right? You didn't think it was even a possibility to become a coach. But how did you think you'd use auto suggestion once you made the decision, right? Because everything starts with a decision. I love that. Um, you made the decision to become a coach. How did you work? What kind of auto suggestion? How was the auto suggestion put it into your mind or in your daily habits to become a coach
well, I
once you
have to
made the
say,
decision? Hmm.
this was back in 2018 when I
Hmm.
made, or 17, when I made the decision. And I have to say that this is still a work in progress. I don't think I will ever be done. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And even the kinds of affirmations and the autosuggestion has changed and evolved as I have changed and evolved. So back then it was very basic things like I can be a coach. It is possible for me. It is possible to help other people in this capacity. It is possible for me to charge money for helping others. That was a big one for me. And, when I do the affirmations and when I work on the autosuggestion, one of the things that has really been useful for me is to focus on the possibility more than the certainty, which might be a little bit different from other people. I noticed that at the beginning, especially, trying to be very certain was not working for me. So in order to just like get my way into whatever I wanted, I it's like I loosened the grip a little bit. And I've been since then focusing very heavily on possibility. These things are possible. I am supported. I am enough. What I know is enough. And it is possible that I can do this. And the more I've been seeing evidence and building
Of course.
uh, success, I've been able to connect with the certainty more and more. But I think it's important to say that because sometimes at the beginning, it can be hard for people to connect with a full uncertainty that things will happen the way they want. And I'm seeing this with my brother. He, out of the blue, I always give him suggestions, and we talk about a lot about our lives and our desires and dreams. And he never like follows the advice very much. But the other day he told me, "Hey, I bought this book, Think and Grow Rich. Do you know about this?" I have probably mentioned this in the past, but it shows up when you're ready, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So with him, I'm noticing that this this approach from possibility is being very helpful because he starts.
Absolutely. Don't we all start like that? It's a lack of faith, right? We are so used to believe what we see. We're so used to have facts, rely on science and all that kind of stuff. And I love it. I love this. Focus on possibility more than certainty. I loved it. It's the first time I hear this. Peter, what kind of questions? I know you have you were nodding your head. You were like something clicked in, and I you're at the floor, my friend.
Lots of good stuff there, Luis. Carola, thank you so much for even just taking us into your own journey. I want to go back to your childhood a little bit. And the only reason I want to do that is I know that someone in the audience will be able to relate to identify some parallels between your upbringing maybe and theirs as well. You mentioned um, some isolation in your childhood. You also mentioned you having to um, pick yourself up by your bootstraps to a certain extent as well. Do you mind sharing a little bit of the realization of that for you, especially as you reflect on your childhood and how it has impacted you as an adult?
Yeah, I am willing to share anything and everything. So if you have specific questions, you can ask. And just in general, what I can say is that the biggest shift for me has been going from a consciousness of impossibility, of I am doomed because all these things happened for me and to me, and because of all these obstacles in my way. Like there's no way I will be able to have the life that I want and that I dream of. And I've been able to very, very slowly and very, very not not effortfully, because I want to be careful with that.
Mhm.
I am not against effort, but sometimes I think it's a dance between like working really hard for what we want, but then also just letting go. And it's like an ebb and flow, or it has been for me,
Yeah.
where sometimes what I think is what I want or what I think is the best for me has been shown to not be exactly that. And it also takes consciousness and awareness to be able to notice that and not just keep blindly efforting in the direction that I thought was the right one. I'm not sure I'm answering your question.
No, no, you are wholeheartedly. But let me go into specifics. You mentioned earlier in your introductions how maybe you were left alone a lot as a child. You also mentioned that you realized you had to take care of things for yourself as you were coming up. How did that impact you? And then if we can migrate back over to Think and Grow Rich, how did Think and Grow Rich help to get you to where you are now with that philosophy that you had to carry from a child, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So yes, from very early on, I realized, or I it was probably very unconscious, that I took care of other people and I also took care of myself.
Mm.
I felt I was always on my own and that I couldn't count on the people around me, even the adults, because I had to take care of them, right? So I couldn't ask for help from them, right? So that carried on for a long time, probably into my late 20s. And that also made it so that I didn't believe, and it probably didn't even cross my mind, that I was worthy, that I was worthy
Mm.
of what I wanted, that I deserved to be helped, to be seen. I've had to work a lot on that, actually, on it's okay for me to exist. It's safe to be. It's safe to take space. It's safe to make an offer. It's safe to say what's on my mind, like what I mean, what I believe. And I know that we talk about the steps, the 13 steps,
Yeah.
and for me, it's not in order. Like there are steps that I haven't explored that much, and there are others that I've spent a lot of time with. And for me, probably the biggest one is desire. It's connecting with, even knowing what I want has been a journey for me, because for most of my life, my early life, I was stuck in survival mode. And when you are in that mode, you don't have the luxury of dreaming and knowing what is it that you want. And I found that connects me with my clients too. I have so many clients who, when they come to work with me, they say, I don't even know what I want. And I already hit all the milestones that society tells you that you need to hit and that all you have to accomplish. But I don't know that that was for me. Like, I did that because the path was laid in front of me. So being able to realize that that's not necessarily what you desire is something that I have to work on myself, and that I help my clients a lot. And I love that. I love that work. I love the work of just giving yourself time and space and the opportunity to connect with what you desire. What is it? It can be so fun. And I find that people are afraid of it because so many people fear that if they tell themselves the truth about what they want and they can't have it, it's going to be devastating. And that's such a shame because, I mean, it just even knowing and exploring what you desire can be so satisfactory. It can be so satisfying and amazing. So I'm gonna stop there. Maybe you
No,
want
that
to.
I was hanging by all the stories and even the desire and the purposes of what I heard. What I heard from you wholeheartedly there, Carola, is that you have found your purpose and you almost desire that others are able to find theirs as well through some of your work. Luis, I got tons of more questions, but I'm gonna pass it back over to you there, sir, because I could
Thank you.
take up this whole conversation. Good
No,
stuff.
absolutely. I love it. No, what struck me is like the limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs. We have, and it is true. Napoleon in the book says that 95% of the people don't know what they want. They're drifting. They literally don't know what they want, and they're victim of circumstances instead of creating circumstances. And this is, I truly believe this is what we do as coaches. We show people that they can create their own circumstances. Now, and here is the fun part though, because you said something really important, really interesting. Once we find out, sometimes people don't want to find out what they want because it comes with a responsibility. Number one, maybe I can't, uh, I didn't know, I don't think I'm worthy of it. Well, you said it earlier, and I guess we all have been there at a certain degrees, right? Depending on our consciousness, our own consciousness. But also because once we find out what we want, that's what it comes, the work, the standards grow. I am capable to do that. And now I have to live to that standard. Otherwise, my mind is not going to be all right. And then it starts this cycle. So, and this is what I love about autosuggestion because autosuggestion helps us to get there. So, how do you use autosuggestion? What is the part that you want with your clients? How can you help them?
Yeah. So let me like have a parenthesis first. It will make sense, so trust me. I said at the beginning that I work with professional women and I help them lose weight.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons that I chose to help them with that thing specifically is exactly because of this lack of connection with desire that so many people have. So I would really want to help them get in touch with their desires and make them happen. But because so many people don't even know that that is a possibility,
Mhm.
I choose to help them or to start helping them with their weight, because that is one of the very few things that people are very aware that they want, you know. So once I get that in and I help them with that, and they realize that they are worthy of having what they want in that area, and the tools that I share with them are useful not only for that, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So it doesn't really matter what we're working on specifically as a goal. They start to transform in other areas, and they start realizing so many other things. So I wanted to say that because um, to answer your question, how I use autosuggestion with myself and with them, I I use that principle. It doesn't really matter in what I am using it to begin with. So I always try to find like a low hanging fruit for myself and for my clients. So what is something that I want that I don't have? So there must be some block there, and that I can find an affirmation that feels easy to wrap my brain around, right? So that is the approach that I use. And then as I start doing that, it starts becoming easier. And then I can get a little bit more specific. I usually find that being general at the beginning seems to bring up less resistance for me and for clients. So we start general, like if I can give you an example, with the weight loss, it is possible for women to lose weight. Like women have lost weight. That's a very general thing. And
Mhm.
if they have a lot of resistance, we would start there. And then we will gradually move in as resistance starts dropping and they start feeling it more naturally. It is possible for me. I can do it now. I can have the exact result that I want. Does that make sense?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, it does make sense because you're getting clear. And what you said is weight. Like a certain weight is very easy for us to put in our minds. So we have a clear goal. Once we have a clear goal, then we can actually move towards it easier. Absolutely. No, I love it. I love it. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Peter, go throwing the ball back at you, my friend.
Yeah, Carola, and thank you so much for even dissecting a little bit of what you do there. Would love to just go back to a basic question. Your first introduction to this infamous book, when did that take place? Um, how did it resonate? As you mentioned earlier, the book sometimes doesn't impact us the first time, but over time, it really just hits us when we need it. What was that journey like for you?
If I remember correctly, it was probably year 2008, 2009 when I first heard of it. And I joined actually a mastermind without even knowing what it was, or like, I don't even remember exactly how I ended up with this group of people, but it was the start of my personal growth journey. And one of the members there mentioned the book, and I don't remember if I bought it physically because back then in here in Chile, it probably wasn't, or maybe it was, I don't even know. But I know that it was probably a like digital copy, maybe a Kindle thing or something like that. And I remember I found it so obscure the first time. It was really, really hard for me to even like progress in, and I may have not even finished it that time. But because I had started that journey and I've stayed on it over and over, like every once a year or maybe even more frequently than that, I go back, and now I have it in audiobook too. So whenever I go for a walk, not all my walks are with Napoleon, but some of them are. And sometimes I even like to just pick a random chapter just to let it, I don't know, surprise me. It doesn't surprise me anymore, but I like to give the opportunity, the universe the opportunity to send me exactly what I need to remember in that moment. So I don't know if that's what you were asking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just wanted to hear what that journey was like with the book because it's kind of all different, but then all the same for all of us. We pick it up the first time, it's like, oh, this is a lot of heavy content. Don't even understand what it looks like. But then over time, where it becomes simpler, it speaks to us. And that's what I heard a little bit from you, and now so much that you're listening it to from an audio perspective. I have it on the, have these different ways that you're allowing the chapters to impact you as well. Is that accurate?
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff. Um, Before we go back to Louise, autosuggestion, affirmations. We've heard you touch on it a little bit on how that has impacted your life and how you use it. Love to hear a little bit more, but even more so, how you help your clients from that perspective as well, if you do.
Yeah, I do. And one of the things that I focus a lot with my clients is creating safety. It's feeling safe in their bodies. So reconnecting with their bodies, feeling safe, listening to their bodies, following their biological impulses. You know, women in highly male-dominated environments, they have had to disconnect from their bodies a lot and override so many of the signals that their bodies, that all our bodies send to us. And that sadly often leads to illness and not only weight loss, but also other kind of problems because the body communicates with us. So one of the things that we focus very strongly at the beginning is reconnecting. And for so many of them, that feels really scary. It feels super unsafe. So among other tools, one of the like main ones that we use is just reminders that we are safe. So that would be one of the affirmations that we use, like I am safe. It is safe to be in my body. For many of them, it's hard to say I love my body, but we work our way up there. I am supported. It's okay. I am okay. I'm worthy. Usually there's a big gap in worthiness too at the beginning. So we start there. We start with the affirmations, creating safety and creating worthiness.
Yeah, if I, one more question there, I'll definitely pass it back over to Louise. We have an interesting we as human beings have an
Mhm.
interesting relationship with our bodies. Um, Love-hate relationship, for lack of a better word. And and sometimes we don't know, and I'll even speak for me, we don't know how to take care of how to treat our bodies, how to speak with our bodies. Um, Tell us a little bit about your work, if you could, and what it entails. Obviously, you just heard about the affirmations that you're introducing to your clients, but what is that relationship really like from your perspective?
Well, for the specific type of person that I work with, it's hard to be in the body. It feels very, very activating. It
Mhm.
doesn't feel safe to be in the body. So I tend to use like the. Let me ask you: do you remember Venn diagrams?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I want to remember them, but I do remember them.
Like we represent different sets
Mhm.
as circles. And I broke my pinky finger 2 days ago.
You good?
So if you think of your physical body as one of those sets, of one of those circles, and all the non-physical parts of you, and you can call it your soul, your spirit, your consciousness, all that it's not tangible is the other circle. What is the intersection for you? How much? And you can say it as a percentage if that helps. What is the percentage for you?
Between where I am and where I desire to be to a certain extent, is that what I'm hearing from you?
So if your physical body is one of the circles and the
Sure.
non-physical part of you
Mm.
is the other circle, what is the overlap?
Oh wow, I've never thought about that there, Carola. If I had to throw out a number, listen, I know the body is like a temple for our soul. So I would at the very least say at least 50 a 50% overlap, I guess if you look at it from that perspective. That's initially what comes to mind.
Okay. What about you, Luis?
I would say where my body is and where I want my body to be. That's what you say.
Your body is and where the other intangible part of you is.
Oh, intangible. No, it's my body's like a third.
Yeah. That's very common for all of us, that it's like our energy is scattered everywhere,
Mhm.
but not very much in your body,
Mhm.
right? So for example, if you had a difficult conversation last week and you keep remembering that and perseverating and ruminating about that, a part of your energy is stuck there, right? And if you are worrying about something that will or will not happen in your future, that you're afraid of, that might happen, that you don't want it to happen, another part of your energy is going to be stuck in the future, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe you miss someone very much and they are far away. So
Mhm.
some parts of your energy are stuck with them. So there are so many different reasons that our energy may be scattered across time, space, that for many people, and I can tell you for me at the beginning, I would say 10% of my energy was in my body, right? I was very um, dissociated, for lack of a better word, but I wasn't very present in my
Mhm.
body, right? Some of us talk about that. I want to be present. I want to be with my kids, but not be thinking about what I need to do at work or what I need to buy at the supermarket. Or I am at work and I want to be at work, but I'm thinking about my kids that and how much I want to be with them, right? So we tend to not be very present. We tend to not be very embodied, right? So that is something that we can say it's true for so many, if not most of us in this modern life, right? Because of stress, because of like all these things that we have to deal with on a daily basis, right? The phone, exactly. Thank you.
Y- that's
Uh,
interesting. That's interesting there, Carola. I'm sorry to interrupt you. And forgive me, I think I answered it the wrong way. You're absolutely right.
Mhm.
How much I'm present. You're right. I think about as a business owner, as a parent, as a husband, I think about so much different stuff at any given time. My presence, am I always present when I need to be? I almost have to take a step back to
mm,
ensure that I become present. As an example, I had a big speaking engagement this past week, and I knew I was present there because
yeah,
I warmed up to be present there. But on
yeah,
any given day, any given moment, I could be at 10 different places.
exactly. Exactly. And that is not necessarily a problem per se, but for most of us, we have a desire to be more present.
Mm.
And there's also the fact that when we are not very connected with the body, we miss the signals that our body sends us. And when we don't listen, the body will ramp it up. And that can lead to different types of not desirable situations. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff.
So,
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say what we want to do and what I want to do with the clients at the beginning is to help them come back to their bodies. And that can be scary for many of them for many reasons, maybe early trauma or, well, different situations that are very varied and personal. And that is one of the things that we work very intensely at the beginning is creating safety in coming back to the body, right? Makes sense?
Good stuff. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Louise,
Yeah,
in
so
respect.
true, so true. Yeah, my head is spinning because it's so true that the power of nowness, right? The nowness, bring everything to the now, and it is very common for people to be traveling because it brings you certainty. When you're thinking on the past, you're thinking on your problems and all this kind of stuff. It brings you certainty. You know how your brain is going to react. You know how your body is going to react.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, let me acknowledge the people on YouTube. We have Meta Wilson, Doretha Dennis, Carla Hill, Shannon Charlton, Cherise Taylor, MC446 Smitty, obviously Miss Anne McNeil. We didn't say hi to Miss Anne McNeil. She's down there's in South America, I think, still. Evelyn Whitfield and another GLC. She says, I relate with her on so many levels. I needed to hear this. I guess we can close down the show and leave. We already impacted a person. I know we impacted. I love to this. Sherry says, I'm enjoying with Carola is sharing about how we can effectively blend the mastery of the mind and with mastery of caring for our bodies. This is wonderful. And I agree. I agree. This is wonderful. The connection with the body. How can and I think that's what you're doing, Carola. You're bringing people making with the weight loss, being present, being okay with your body because it's true. How many of us are not happy with our bodies? It's constant work. I am a retired. I'm a karate world champion. I don't train anymore. I don't compete anymore. I still train. But if you ask me, this is so important, and let's see if we can before we bring this to land this for me, part of my personality. If you ask me, describe yourself, right? The first thing, and I've been doing this for probably over 30 years. When you define yourself, I'm an athlete. I'm a husband. I'm a coach, but I am an athlete. So what comes with that affirmation, with that concept that I have of myself? I am in good shape. I am training. I am not lazy. I am always looking for in a way to get better. Yeah, I'm not competing, but I now I'm lifting weights. I mean, my whole life I never lifted weights, so that's a new way for me to start and stay and competitive in my mind because I need that sharpness as well, right? As a business owner, father, and all this stuff. Can you dig a little bit more into that, like what you've seen on personalities with the people and not being okay with their body and why they come to you,
Yeah, well, we could talk about this like a whole day and still,
right?
like, you know, um, I see that the media and just advertisement and
Mhm. Influencers.
messages that we get, especially as women, about our bodies are really, really scary and negative. You know, I, as I said before, I am approaching 50 this year. And when I was younger, I had this thought, this certainty that I was going to have to start um, leaving money aside for surgery, like for a facelift and for all these procedures. Like that was a fact in my mind. Like I didn't even question that. And all this anti-aging concept that is probably purely a marketing creation, I find it so, I don't know, misogynistic is a strong word, but it's like they're asking us to not do something that it's biology. Like we can't not age. I mean, the only way that I could not age is if I die young. And I'm not available for that. So, loving our bodies in this environment is even harder. Being okay with them, with the effects of have kids, with well, it doesn't really matter what. Like we have these human bodies that do stuff. And there are some people somewhere, probably in a corporate meeting room, defining what is the right way to look for these bodies. And if we don't take a step back and if we don't reclaim our power to decide what is even acceptable for them to look like, we're going to be swayed in that rhetoric. And I am not available for that. And I want to be sort of like I don't know, uh, the person who just says that it's okay to not buy into the line of thinking and it's safe because for so many women, especially in high profile careers, they have this belief that they need to keep looking a certain way to be valid, to be okay to exist in that environment. And it makes me super mad. So I am trying to be very careful because it makes me I get really worked up about that.
Got it. Yeah, Peter.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We're getting ready to wrap up a little bit, so we're gonna go around the room. I'm gonna get us kicked off a little bit today with this. And actually, I want to thank you all who are watching for watching today. This has been a phenomenal conversation with Carola. One of the big things that my aha moments is something that she even just said a little while ago that I'm gonna start adopting into my vocabulary. And it's this there, Carola. I am not available for that. I love that, just that phrase. I need to use that more in different scenarios or activities of my life. I'm not available for that. And
I
I
love
thank
it.
you for that because that's an affirmation in and of itself. And I don't think we implement that enough overall. So, hey, folks, my name is Dr. Peter A. James. I'm the high performance coach helping you to shift your mindset. You can find me at shiftyourmindset.com or at LinkedIn by just typing Dr. Peter A. James. Hey, before I go, I would be remiss if I did not share our annual accountability meeting that we have every January. You know, Carola had a great opportunity to introduce her own mastermind where she was held accountable as she started on her coach journey. We also have an annual accountability meeting, which allows you to come and be very introspective in various areas of your life. This is a must have to be able to put on your calendar in January of 2026. So please make sure that you are there, that you are available for that so that you can impact your future the best way possible. And then also identify those desires and that purpose in your life as well. So this has been a great conversation. Louise, I'm gonna hand it over to you there, sir. What are some aha moments in your life and how can we stay in touch with you, sir?
Thank you, Peter. I love that picture because I can see myself in Boca Raton, in the ocean, at the beach, having an amazing time with you guys. I'm Luis Fernando Jimenez. You guys can find me on all the platforms from LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, as Luis Jimenez Coaching. And I love the fact that Carola brought this to be conscious of our body, accept our bodies, and work on it from the mindset perspective and being okay with aging. Because it's true, when we're in our 20s and our 30s, we feel indestructible. We feel like we're never gonna die. We feel so empowered with life. But then 40s, 50s, and your body is not doing what it used to be. It's shocking for some people, right? So I am like being okay with myself, take care of myself because those golden years are the years right here that are not too far from us. And I just want to go through that part of my life as healthy as possible. So thank you, Carola. And where can we find you?
My website is super easy, carolafuertes.com.
Super simple, super easy. Nice. Both in English and Spanish, correct?
Well, I coach in English and in Spanish, but the website is only in
Right.
English.
But you're available for people in Spanish as well.
Oh, of course, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Um, Peter, can you please remind us the date of the annual because we couldn't see it and we didn't hear it. You are muted, my friend.
Absolutely there, Luis. January 2nd and 3rd of 2026. Definitely. I put the link in the chat of YouTube. Definitely be sure to sign up as needed. One last thing, Carola. What do you have that you're working on soon that you would love people to connect with you on? Maybe a new project, a new task, anything that's on the horizon that we need to stay tuned for from you.
Oh, thank you for asking. I am getting ready to launch a new podcast specifically for all these tools apply to weight loss for professional women.
What's it going to be called? Do you know yet?
Yeah, your body journey.
Love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Good stuff there, Louise. Another great
Eh,
show, Carola. Thank you so much. This has been fabulous.
Yes, it's been
I
fabulous. I'm sorry. Thank you guys. Carola, thank you so much for being here, bringing this awareness to us. Guys, connect with her, check it out, and we will see you guys next week. Have a terrific rest of your weekend. Bye bye.
You.